going through some process themselves in advance. And to that degree, will the agency set some floor for states in terms of the minimum sets of requirements that states will have to have with regard to environmental justice before they will sign off on a plan? My concern is that if we have states like Indiana that take ideological positions against environmental justice as actually potentially a real thing, how can we then expect that Indiana is going to actually engage in a meaningful process with regards to environmental justice if they don't actually believe that it exists? In this regard, the agency is able to take a leadership role and saying, these we think are the minimum requirements that we would expect that all of our states and all our state implementation plans are going to have with regards to environmental justice, be that a screening tool, be that a model analysis, be that some level of engagement that takes a substantive consideration of environmental justice seriously.
And if next we can have just the youth lens real quick. We have Russell Palmer of Kepler Institute. Kepler.
Hello, my name is Russell Palmer. I'm from the Kepler Institute. We're a non-profit community organization located in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're here to support the NAACP and Climate Justice Alliance in the effort to have the clean energy plan, make sure the clean energy plan is supporting frontline communities and communities of color. And you asked my perspective on the matter? Briefly. I don't really have a perspective on the matter personally. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize, I do need to go get on this call for Flint. If that call gets over with, when that call gets over with, I'll come back down and see if you're still here, so I'll have an opportunity to talk further with you. But thank you very much. I am assured that I will get very complete notes and be briefed for those of you I can't hear personally. And again, thank you so much for coming out on such a cold day on such an important issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to turn it over to Michigan now. We have Amina Maxey from Gaia.
Anya.
Hi, thank you. Yes, can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Great, thank you. So here in Michigan, we have very similar concerns to some of what folks from the other regions address. There are quite a few environmental justice communities here in Michigan, most notably right now, Flint, Michigan, as well as Detroit, Michigan, which is the city where I'm from. And so I think to some of what we're concerned about, what was addressed in our power plan is what are some of the ways the EPA will give guidance to the region. Detroit, Michigan is home to one of the third most polluted zip codes in the country, 48217. And then also we're home to one of the country's largest waste incinerators. And so as a result of a lot of overburden of pollution, there are really extremely poor air quality and really high rates of asthma. And so folks are concerned that there's really a shifting of pollution from coal to other forms that are being incentivized as clean energy. But here in the city, we know that our incinerator located in Detroit emits extremely high amounts of carbon dioxide, more carbon dioxide per unit of energy than coal. And so we really very much are advocating and against the inclusion of any form of incentivizing of energies that really just go on to exacerbate conditions in communities that are already vulnerable to the impact of pollution. And then, like we, I think, was laid out very well in Indiana, the state of Michigan very much will need support from the federal government in giving guidance on equity analysis and environmental justice analysis when it comes to the implementation of the Clean Power Plan, and that's because of the track record that our government has had, not just with the most recent incident, but as well in the past. And so those are some of the reasons why I'm here in the room, not only speaking for myself, but other organizations within the state as well. And so thank you.
Thank you, Amina. We really appreciate it. From Minneapolis, we have Karen Monahan from NAACP.
Awesome. Thank you. I am here to talk about two different campaigns that are connected to the Clean Power Plan in the Minneapolis area and talk about solutions. Number one, we are working on the Hennepin County Recovery Garbage Incinerator. It's the third largest in the country when it comes to racial disparities. We have about 18 elementary schools within a 2-mile radius of the garbage incinerator. In Minneapolis, we have some of the highest rates of asthma in the country, along with some of the highest rates when it comes to jobs and education disparities between communities of color and whites. And this, we have an opportunity with the Clean Power Plan to remove one of the sources, which is garbage incinerators, which adds to the cumulative impacts, disproportional impacts EJ communities bear. Xcel Energy buys their energy from the Hurt garbage incinerator, which if they get a credit for that, does that mean that they can turn around and burn more coal at Sherco? Another solution, we have our Just Solar campaign, and it's a solution, it's access to solar, and we prioritize our communities, environmental justice communities. We feel should be prioritized when it comes to access around family sustainable wages. We're working with labor unions to have inclusion. When it comes to communities of color, we would hope to have access to capital for our communities to create solar and wind businesses. This would also create and generate wealth in many of our communities. EJ communities, we hope will be prioritized when it comes to access to solar and wind, which will reduce our utility bills, reduce health disparities, and protect our planet. And from what I hear, all of our shared goal is to protect our planet and our health. And we can't trade off one set of harmful polluting energy for another set of harmful and polluting energy. And I like to use that analogy if we're trying to eat more healthy in our diet and we say we're going to cut off sugar and our goal is to be healthier. We can't say we're going to cut off sugar and reduce that, but then over here, like beef up, the fried foods or whatever. That means our goal is not really about healthy communities and healthy planet. And we have an opportunity with the Clean Power Plan to make sure that we implement some of these solutions. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure, thank you, Karen. From Wisconsin, we had Mr. Wendell Harris. I'm not sure if he either called in or made it in person.
Mr. Harris?
All right, from Ohio, we have Amy Ross Womack from NAACP. Ms. Ross Womack, are you on the phone with us?
Is Ohio NAACP on the line?
That is the list of speakers that I have. Should we open it up?
Sorry? Is Ohio represented on the phone today?
So I just want to take the time to ensure that if there's anybody else in the room who would like to speak as well, being that it is an open meeting and we have community folks who are here with us today. If there's anybody who would like to add anything to the testimony today?
Maybe could we do that in the course of introduction?
Sure, not a problem.
Yeah.
Why don't you join us, Cheryl? Have a seat.
Good afternoon. afternoon. I apologize for being late. My name is Cheryl Johnson. I'm Executive Director of People for Community Recovery. I'm here representing the community of All Hill Garden. And it's very important that we address the Clean Power Plan and make sure that the most vulnerable communities are protected, particularly people living in public housing. As I know, as a resident of long-term and public housing, we tend to always be neglected or ignore about opportunity that can be beneficial to a community like mine. So I just want to make sure that public housing, subsidized housing around the country can benefit from the energy efficiency projects. And my mother, who was the late mother of the environmental justice movement, always called our community the toxic donut, because we're in the center of the donut, outside the parameter of the donut is polluting facilities. So we can benefit greatly. We may not have any coal power plant in our area, but we do have a lot of hazardous waste sites in our community that needs to be cleaned up. And I think that these clean power plant can be beneficial to the southeast side of Chicago. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, this is Denise with, again with NAACP in Indiana. That's something that we have been advocating for in Indiana, to have our Section 8 housing to bring in